Welcome to the Journey of Entrepreneurship. My name is Rosler, and I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Richard Phipps. How are you doing today, Mr. Phipps?
Awesome.
I'm glad to hear
Well,
that.
it's a great day. Any day that we're talking is a great day.
Thank you so much for joining me today. And I would like to discuss networking, business to business, as well as any tips you would have on networking to obtain new clients. If you don't mind discussing some of the tips and tricks you have for networking with business to business first, and then we can navigate to educating the listeners on what they can do to obtain a few more clients.
Okay. Always a privilege to be able to chat and share information that could possibly help others in the business arena, but also help those who might be looking to connect to businesses. We talked earlier about business to business, and that's one of the ways that businesses make their connections. And to discuss where those connections are made, it could be a very long topic, but we'll condense it. Oftentimes, they're professional trade associations where businesses connect, whether it's in the real estate industry or whether it's in the financial industry. There are lots of associations that promote annual events where businesses connect nationwide. Automobile industry, technology, but then you get to the smaller businesses, merchandising and technology resources at the local level. When I say local level, networking organizations, and most of them are doing business online, but they also have local events to introduce their services, storage services for data storage, data destruction. So there are all types of resources available business to business, and oftentimes people are looking online for these services. But when you look online, you have to then do the analysis and compare what's available, what might be close, what might be reasonable, what might be compatible and competitive for your needs. When you go to the networking events that are housed locally, there you have the opportunity to meet and greet and actually explore the services that these agencies provide, so that you have a better understanding of the what's required of you to work with them, because you're able to have that discussion one-on-one, and it makes for a better, generally can make for a better working experience if you know exactly who you're working with and what you're going to be doing. Besides the national trade shows and the local events that might be hosted by the Chamber of Commerce or the Better Business Bureau in your area, and you should register. I would recommend that as a small business, you register with the Chamber of Commerce, you register with the Better Business Bureau. Now, they've had some challenges, granted, but people still look at the Better Business Bureau brand as a credible source or reference. And oftentimes when people, businesses or individuals look at your website, they're looking for brand credibility, or branding credibility, I should say. When you do the events locally or nationally, and you're a member of that trade association, or you're a member of the Better Business Bureau, or a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm not necessarily promoting these things, I'm saying they can be practical and beneficial for your branding, to be a member of these organizations. And oftentimes you receive discount services when you're part, as a business, when you're part of these business organizations. The other thing that pops up, Russell, my friend, is when you belong to these associations or Chamber of Commerce, Better Business Bureau, They will also share your information as part of their database with businesses who might want to do business because they have sites where you can post your information. Uh, I know that our organization is posted on several casino employee websites, and you can get that as a result of being part of a local business network. And I mentioned earlier the Chamber of Commerce, the Business Bureau, but there's several business networks. I know there's business BNI Business Network International. They have groups in within certain cities that you can connect to, and there's a limited number of different professions that can be in the group. As in some cases, there may be a local restaurant, a local real estate profession, a local mortgage profession, a local attorney, local accountant, and they're limited in the number of individuals they'll have in that circle because they want to share information among themselves. So if you own a small business, you might want to consider becoming a part of one of those networks. And these are ways that you can do business to business activity and enhance your market share as well as your revenue, increasing your revenue. Besides the networks mentioned and the opportunities, you can do networking of your own. Many people, once they're in business, realize they need to self-market. So they're able to work with local or regional businesses through information sharing, email marketing campaigns, just making sure that people know that you're there and what you provide and that you would like to serve them or receive services from them, because it works both ways. And then I always say in business, it's better to reach out to another business and say, how can I help you expand? Because inevitably they reciprocate rather than saying, I would like you to help me expand. And that goes, that goes without saying. If you reach out to help somebody, generally there's a great deal of reciprocity because of your willingness to help. Those are the highlights that I can think of now as it relates to business activity roster, where I would encourage people to engage. And I'd like to hear your thoughts, and then we can go a bit to consumer business, consumer engagement.
I definitely think the suggestions you gave were fantastic with joining your Chamber of Commerce and networking with your local businesses. And I would say in addition to that, something the listeners can do is to find those groups is to look on Facebook, check Meetup. A lot of the real estate and professional groups that you mentioned will have some kind of information about when they meet, what time they meet, how to connect with them. They might have a website along with the organizations that you mentioned. I definitely wanted to mention Toastmasters, which is a professional networking and speaking organization, as well as they can look into a Rotary Club and
Lions Club as well.
Exactly. A lot of those resources are available, are very low in cost or even free to join some of these organizations. And you also mentioned that the listeners, you briefly mentioned it, but I definitely want to highlight it. It's something that I think is very important. Always go in with a plan on what you have to offer that other business. There's no free lunch. Nobody's going to just help you and give their time without essentially receiving something of value back. It might just be they want to mentor you, they want to foster your growth, but you should always have a plan on what you can offer. Don't just ask. It could be something related to a skill that you have or related to your business. Offer a service, find out what that person needs, make it about them, create value, and that will take you a long way.
You know what? I am so glad you expanded on that because they say there's greater happiness in giving than there is in receiving. But I guarantee you, after 40 years, there's greater satisfaction, happiness, but greater rewards in giving than there is in receiving. If you ask for something and it may or may not happen. If you give something, you get the satisfaction of giving, and it has many other ripple effects. So, Rasa, I concur. Giving is the way to go. Offering something without expectation, and then seeing how things work is, And I challenge people to explore this, and it helps with conversational skills as well. I say get into a conversation with anybody and ask them about themselves. What do you do? Why do you do it? How do you do it? Where do you do it? By the time you get in asking 6 or 8 of those questions, the person you're talking to, you're soliciting, they're going to say, so what do you do? And that's part of the beauty of giving, because you're giving your attention to others. And essentially what happens after a few questions, that they certainly have an interest. You want to know about them. They really want to get to know you. So, and that's generally how it works.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and just
now,
I'm sorry. Go
ahead. No, go ahead, Ross.
I was going to say, just to switch gears a bit, what would you suggest, if anything different, listeners do to potentially attract customers? I know there is a relationship there as far as using some of the same techniques, but is there anything additional that you think our listeners should be doing to attract customers?
Okay, so I believe as it relates to the customers, it's a little bit different. Customers are generally looking, we're in a consumeristic society, and we always have consumers looking for products or services, whether driven by ads or television media, by media ads or by conversation. And although oftentimes they're looking, they're exploring rather than intent on purchasing. People go into stores, spend a good portion of a day, and they walk out empty-handed. Why? So the thought of moving to consumers who would like to utilize your products and services are pieces that I kind of encourage to explore. But the way we encourage people, consumers, businesses to introduce themselves is with education. Education can be free, or it can have a nominal cost through giveaways that excite or attract people to your brand. Both of those things can be reasonably inexpensive. If you have venues where you provide information with other like-minded businesses that could meet the needs of your target audience, then partnership with other businesses can help to support opportunities where you introduce yourself to clients. The cities and towns usually have business fairs for consumers or events for consumers to be introduced to their local businesses so that the businesses can thrive. So you want to connect as a business wanting to do with your city and town events that they have. Generally, you can be a part of those by invitation or by registration. You want to be able to, in your communities, provide free information or resources to help introduce people to your products and services, and why your products and services might be different or better than others, or more user-friendly. So these are some things that businesses can do to connect the consumers, especially in in public areas where events are being promoted. I know some of the cities that I happen to be in from time to time. I know Las Vegas, Nevada has outside concerts, and they have vendors and city of Boston has similar concerts on the plaza, and vendors come and sort of make consumers aware of products or services that they offer. So it's a very unique and dynamic opportunity, ever changing, because there's so many things to do from season to season, from time to time, in terms of putting business information out. Additional thoughts?
I think in both cases, with business to business and with customers, one underlying thing that I feel transitions between both of them is creating value, whether it's for a business, what you can bring to them, or for a client, how that service can make their life easier, or however it can help them. It's all about creating value and getting that product or service out in front of those business owners or clients, so that you could take advantage of that to grow your business.
That's a very important factor. If they don't have a reason, don't say a reason, they won't do business with you. So it is very important, as you said, to make sure that they see a benefit in it for them, whatever it is, so they'll be drawn to do business with you. That's what I got for today, my friend. I don't want to overwhelm them. I'd like them to be able to reach out to you if they have questions or specific questions or other thoughts that they'd like clarity on, and then we can certainly offer that clarity in a one-on-one, because we can't sort of solve every problem in a brief broadcast or every challenge.
Absolutely, I agree. And as you mentioned, we are available to answer any questions. We can be reached at my email, Rosler, ROSLER, @thinkingoutloudinc.com. And if there are any questions that the listeners may have, or any topics that they want us to cover, feel free to send me an email, and we'd be more than happy to answer your questions one-on-one on the podcast, or to discuss a topic that you have in mind. Thank you so much for joining me today, Mr. Phipps. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
I look forward to future opportunities, and you have a great day, and continue to help those that reach out to you. And I look forward to supporting them actively. You're an awesome resource to your community, my friend.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.